It's the 20th of June, 2012. This is Capital FM Online TV News. In the headlines, Rawal Inquiry Team starts its work. 6 lions speared to death in Kiserian. 500,000 guns illegally in Kenya, report says. And 6 AP officers put on their defense over taxi drivers' killings. Good evening, I'm Victoria Rubadiri. A team formed to investigate last week's helicopter crash has formally commenced its work after its members were sworn in by Chief Justice Willie Mutunga. On Wednesday afternoon, the team led by Court of Appeal Judge Kalpana Rawal visited the crash site in Kibiku area of Gong to collect evidence. The team, comprising of French and South African aviation experts, is mandated to investigate the cause of the helicopter crash that killed Internal Security Minister George Saitoti, his assistant Orwa Ojode, and 4 police officers. The swearing-in ceremony was officiated by the Chief Justice in the presence of Transport Minister Amos Kimunya and other senior government officials.
You brought your own guitar.
6 lions were speared to death overnight on the outskirts of the city after they strayed from the Nairobi National Park and killed 10 goats. The Kenya Wildlife Service says the 2 adult lionesses, 2 young adults, and 2 cubs were killed by a mob after they invaded a settlement in Kitengela on the outskirts of the park. The Wildlife Authority says it had dispatched rangers and a veterinary capture team to search for the cats after receiving a report from the community that lions had strayed from the park. KWS says in a statement that while the search was on, the lions were killed by the mob. But Jackson Sinkate and Charity Mutunke, whose livestock were affected, say 10 goats were eaten by the lions as they awaited the KWS veterinary officers to dart them. Meanwhile, Wildlife and Forestry Assistant Minister Josephat Nanok says it is against the law to attack wild animals even when they have strayed from the game parks and caused damage to crops and livestock.
The locals were more than 100, our people only 3, so you can expect that. We can't shoot human beings.
A survey funded by the Danish government has shown that there are more than 500,000 firearms in the wrong hands in Kenya. The study, conducted by the Small Arms Survey and the Kenya National Focal Point on Small Arms and Light Weapons, indicated that most of the guns are held in pastoral communities and urban areas. Internal Security Permanent Secretary Mutea Iringo says the government is now mapping out strategies to recover the arms to ensure they are not used to destabilize the country during next year's general election. The report shows that illegally owned firearms include those brought into the country through the porous Somalia border, while others were stolen from police officers by gangsters. The High Court has found that 6 administration police officers accused of murdering 7 taxi drivers in Nairobi's Kawangware estate have a case to answer. Justice Fred Ochieng, however, released 1 AP officer due to lack of evidence in the murders that occurred 2 years ago when the officers allegedly responded to a distress call. The judge largely relied on evidence given by some 28 witnesses who testified against the officers. The case will now be heard on the 9th of July. And that does it for our top stories of the day. Thank you for joining us. I'm Victoria Rubadiri.